Hello and welcome to the James Granström podcast. Today's show is all about 21 ways to raise your vibe. If you're enjoying the show and you're liking what you're hearing, please remember to like, subscribe and share. It's so appreciated and helps support the show and helps share the message of well-being that gets out to the people that you care about most. Welcome back to the James Granström podcast. I have an amazing show lined up for you today. Today's show is all about 21 ways to raise your vibe. Your vibe is your emotional output, and your emotional output is what you're sending out into the world and what's coming back. So the better you feel, the better your life's gonna get. I have 21 ways to help you raise your vibe. I've been doing this for nearly 20 years and I am so happy to share this episode with you. I always am discovering new hacks and ways for me to increase my vibe so that I feel happier and lighter and freer. And obviously from that state of mind and from that state of being, the quality of your daily life begins to improve. And of course, your interactions and your relationships and your business, just everything that you do becomes a much healthier and happier place to live from. From this particular state of being, life just becomes a lot easier and a lot happier. Not to say that there aren't challenges, but these are the ways to get back in your zone when life kind of seems to be dipping a little bit for you. So without further ado, these are my 21 ways to raise your vibe. Number 1, sleeping. Sleeping helps raise your vibe. Why? Because sleeping helps release the resistance that you have during the day. So the better quality sleep that you get, even if you had like a little mini power sleep for 20 minutes during the day, what that does is release any resistance and helps you tune back into your natural state of well-being. So a little power nap in the afternoon can work absolute wonders. Billionaires talk about doing these little power naps. Thomas Edison used to do these power naps. Tesla used to do these power naps. And they used to do them with a little pen and piece of paper next door to them. So a little power nap and a good quality night's restful sleep will do wonders in helping you raise your vibe. Because when you fall asleep and you're rested, you come back at higher notes, so to speak, if you were looking at it musically. So enjoy a good night's sleep and try and incorporate just a little afternoon nap, because that will work wonders in helping you raise your vibe. Number 2, meditate. Meditation, breathing and yoga will work absolutely wonders. Why? Because when you begin to silence the mind, what happens is your natural energy, your natural vibration begins to rise. It's the resistance that holds us down. And when we quiet our mind through meditation, maybe it's breathing. You know, I've got a few breathing exercises I could share right now. Number 1 is like box breathing. So 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out is absolutely brilliant. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then start the process again. This is an absolutely wonderful way to help soothe the emotions. But number 2, also raise your vibration. Another way you can breathe is inhale for 3 and exhale for 5. This particular rhythm, if you do this for a few minutes, I do this often every day for 15 minutes a day. And what this does is it naturally gets you into a theta state of brainwave, which naturally helps you raise your vibe. Kids are often living from this vibe. So breathing in for 3 and exhaling for 5 can work absolute wonders in raising your vibe. And the other types of breathing you could do is look into Wim Hof's breathing, because that actually also helps you raise your vibe. Because what that's doing is it take all the air that you're taking into your lungs and into your system. Your lungs are like balloons, so the more you fill them up with air, the more air that they'll have. That air, once expelled and exhaled, and you start the whole process again, creates a healthier blood flow. And in doing so, again, raises your vibe. So breathing is great. And of course, yoga is great because it's stretching not only the internal muscles and the internal organs, it's also doing that with your muscles as well. So the yoga, breathing and meditation is my second way in helping you raise your vibe. Number 3, exercise. Exercise will help raise your vibe because when you use your energy, you get more energy, and that energy helps you raise your vibe. So when you're using energy and you're exercising and you're moving your body, and when you sweat, what happens is you're releasing the toxins, which takes me into number 4, which is detoxification. When you detoxify your body and you're reducing the stimulants that you put in, your natural vibration begins to rise automatically. So that means as you begin to reduce the amount of caffeine that you take and reduce the amount of alcohol that you take, what happens is your natural energy just rises. When we're taking care of our body and reducing the amount of stimulants we're putting inside our body, what happens is our body just begins to rise normally, like a cork bobbing up and down on a water. I love that analogy by Abraham Hicks, and it is so true, is that when you become dependent on external sources to help you feel better, you will always create more resistance on your trails. In order to raise your vibration, you need to reduce the resistance. And resistance is often caused not only by what we're thinking, but resistance is often caused by what we're putting into our body. And that could be thoughts, that could be food, that could be all sorts of things. But the key thing is when we begin to detoxify and we begin that cleansing process, boom, up goes your vibe and you raise your vibe. So let's go into number 5. And number 5 is positive thinking. Positive thinking, not only towards other people, but also towards yourself. When you think positively, you create less resistance. And when you think negatively, you create more resistance. So positive thinking produces less resistance, which means your natural vibration is going to rise. And as soon as you raise your vibe, you feel better. That's why it's so much more fun to be around happy, fun, light-hearted people than people who are really heavy and, you know, playing Ain't It Awful game. Play the Ain't It Great game and you'll notice that when you're playing Ain't It Great or Ain't That Great, what's happening is you just begin to laugh more. When you're looking for things that are uplifting, you're just going to feel better. That's how you raise your vibe. People who want to be negative choose to be, and people who want to be positive choose to be positive. And it's easier to be positive than it is to be negative, because being negative requires much more resistance. And of course, we're addicted to it. So as human beings, we're addicted to the way that we feel more regularly. So if you're negative, you're going to naturally want to be more negative. And that makes it a little bit harder to become positive. But one of the ways you can become and lean towards more positive is by playing the Ain't It Awesome game. What's working out for me game? How well did that go? Isn't life good to me? Aren't I blessed? Aren't I lucky? Didn't that work out? Those type of games, those type of statements change and switch your vibe and make it higher. And that's how you tap into your natural state of well-being. And that's one of the ways in which you can raise your vibe. Number 6, eat organic fresh foods. Eat organic fresh foods, not GM produced foods. Foods that are bought close to where you live is even better. So farmers markets near you and buying organic food is really great for your body, because the better you're feeding your body, the more enzymes and nutrients you're getting in, the happier and healthier you're going to be. Your eyes are going to look better, your skin's going to look better, and you're going to have a lot more energy, again helping you tap into your natural state of well-being and helping you raise your vibe. So think about supporting your local farmers market as soon as possible, not only to help them, but also to help you raise your vibe, because when you raise your vibe, good stuff happens to you. Number 7, drink more fresh water. Fresh water is absolutely key to our well-being. You know, as adults, we become less enthused by drinking water as we age, and the reason being is because the toxicity in the air is not making us feeling as satiated by the water that we drink. So I often infuse water with like lemon or cucumber or strawberries or raspberries or apple or pineapple. Just get water into your system, and sometimes you need to mix it up with things so that you get that satiation. The key thing is that the cleaner water that you're drinking, the more minerals that you'll be absorbing, because you are what you absorb. So if you're absorbing clean, fresh water into your body, you're going to feel great. And drinking more water not only hydrates you, it hydrates your brain, it hydrates all the cells in your body, makes your skin look better, and improves the quality of your life and raises your vibe. Number 8, spending time in nature. Spending more time in nature is definitely going to raise your vibe because of the alpha patterns in Mother Nature. Just looking at a tree and observing nature helps you slow right down. And when you slow right down, you're not in this incessant beta brainwave activity. And in this beta brainwave activity, you're constantly wanting to do. But when you spend time in nature, what happens is you begin to just be. You begin to be more present. And in that presence, you raise your vibration. So that's why the present moment awareness and mindfulness and just spending time in nature, watching waves or watching the fields move, you know, the grass and the barley and the wheat as they move, as you're noticing the trees sway, what that does is it creates a centered present moment focus, and that helps you raise your vibration. So spend a lot more time in nature, and you're going to notice that your nervous system becomes calmer and soother, and up goes your vibration. Number 9, watching inspiring movies and watching comedies. A laugh a day will definitely keep the doctor away. When you are happy, you become healthier, and the happier you become, the better that is on your nervous system. We become addicted to those happy feel-good chemicals, which creates a longing and a yearning for more of that. So the more you're laughing, the more you want to laugh, and a laugh will dissolve a lot of pain and challenge. Schedule in something that's funny every single day for you to watch if you like your TV, and if you don't like TV, turn it off completely, particularly the news, because the news is the quickest way to get a downer going on. And spending time and being conscious about what you're watching is a huge way to raise your vibe. So find some comedies to watch, find some inspiring movies that make your heart move, that make you feel good, that are warm, because anything that's violent is very erratic, and in doing so, what that does is will completely decrease your vibe and make you go lower down the emotional scale. So, you know, I used to watch a lot of like action and war films and things like that, and I recognized that after a while of meditating, I was like, I wasn't interested in watching those anymore. I like watching the occasional James Bond and things like that. But what I've noticed is that I spend much more time trying to find things that make me laugh, because I know that laughter helps me feel great. And I love to laugh, and I want to laugh a lot more. And I know that I feel happier and healthier, and my vibration is raising through the roof when I'm having a proper scream of laughter or crying with laughter at the end of watching some stand-up comedy or, you know, a funny film. So watching comedy every day for as little as 20 minutes can really change the dynamics of your biological makeup, and particularly your energetic makeup, and will help you raise your vibe. Number 10, surround your home with uplifting, happy, feel-good pictures. And not only that, maybe some pictures that have some sort of spiritual inclination to you. The reason being is because those pictures that are happy and above create this feeling inside of you. So your pictures that you have inside of your room, this is a Feng Shui principle. And when I first started studying Feng Shui, I was like, golly, that makes so much sense. But it was only when I recognized that the pictures in my life came true that I was like, I'm going to surround myself with amazing pictures. So in certain parts of the house, I place pictures, and in other parts of the house I've got no pictures, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about that. So when you surround yourself with happy, feel-good pictures, what happens is that creates an emotion within you. So whenever you look at it, it creates this positive thought form, and that positive thought form creates a raise in your vibration. I'll give you a little example. Something that my sister wanted was she wanted to have a family. She wanted to have a couple of kids, and that was not her experience. So I told her, this was back in 2006, to get a painting commissioned about what she wanted. She wanted a family and she wanted 2 kids. So I said, you know, perhaps create a scene where you're walking on a beach. So that's exactly what she did. She got a painting commissioned, and she had a picture of a son and a daughter and a husband who she didn't have at that time. She put it above her bed, and in doing so, what happened is that about a year later, she met a guy. They fell in love and ended up conceiving a child probably about 2 years after they met, who's now is my goddaughter Ava. And then she had a son as well, little Freddie, and she's got a wonderful family. I feel very blessed to have such couple of brilliant brother-in-laws. But it was all due to this little painting. And at her wedding we had a conversation about this. I did a little speech, and she goes, I can't believe it, you know, you just helped me paint that picture in my mind of what I wanted. And that will help you raise your vibe. So something to consider, folks. Choose your pictures in your home wisely, and if you've got any pictures that don't make you feel great, get them out, because they're not helping you raise your vibe. Number 11, staring at sacred geometry. Sacred geometry are shapes that the universe is all based upon. The universe, from a mathematical standpoint, it turns up in shapes. And one of the shapes I love to stare at is this, and this is the flower of life. And the flower of life is a sacred symbol. And this particular symbol creates a hemispheric balance. And when you become into coherence, what that does is it raises your vibe. And more importantly, the flower of life, what that does is it creates a harmonic balance. It soothes your nervous system. And looking at these geometric shapes, and this is what Leonardo da Vinci was doing when he was designing all his drawings. He was doing it based on the Fibonacci sequence, which is a sacred geometry piece. So Leonardo da Vinci was able to balance a lot of his work and art based upon sacred geometry. So looking at these simple geometric shapes really helps raise your vibe if you're very, very visual. So from time to time, I stare at the flower of life and I look at this symbol, and it helps me soothe any angst I've got going on in my mind. And boom, I use it as a meditation process just to help me raise my vibe for staring at it like for 5 minutes, because it creates focus and it creates the harmony in both hemispheres of the brain, helping you raise your vibe. Number 12, listening to music is going to absolutely change your vibe. And music will change your emotional state quicker than pretty much most things. And so finding music that makes you feel great is going to help you raise your vibe. When you're feeling a little bit low and you want to go higher, trying to put on something really uplifting is probably a bit too far away from your vibe. So in order to raise your vibe, if you're feeling pretty low and you're having a tough day, it's better to listen to gentle music. But if you're feeling pretty steady, that's the time to go higher with your music. That's the time to maybe have a little dance party by yourself. But having music in your life will definitely raise your vibe. And sometimes if you're finding life a little bit tough, try to use music with no vocals, because the vocals can be quite specific, which will cause you to fall off your center. So if you're feeling steady and you're feeling sure, then go for music with vocals. But if you're not feeling great, then it's often good to put music on with no vocals, because it will cause you to focus and go downwards and spiral. A lot of people don't recognize that, because we are focusing beings and we want to focus on something. So when we're listening to music with words that are on a downer, you're going to follow it. And if you're listening to music with words on an upper, you're going to follow it. But you've got to recognize where you're at and use music accordingly. So if you're not feeling great, it's best to listen to gentle, easygoing music. And if you are starting to feel good and you want to feel higher, that's the time to get some better, good feeling, pumping music going. And often music that I like to listen to towards the end of the day is things like the 528 Hertz solfeggio frequencies. And what this does is it helps you get into that hot space and really help you transition ready for a good night's sleep. Number 13, grounding, spending time touching the earth, working with the earth, working with plants, working with vegetables, coming into contact with the earth. Grounding is a phenomenon that the whole world is yet to catch up with. It's basically when you come into contact with the earth, what happens, that softens your electrical frequency. As we are beings of electrical output the whole time, whether we know it or not, science is catching up and showing that we are electrical in more ways than one. And when we are connecting with the earth, when we're walking on the earth, whether it be barefoot or with our hands or touching water or in water, what happens is, or even touching the leaf on a tree that's actually rooted in the ground, what that means is you are grounding, you are earthing. And what that does is it reduces inflammation in the body, and all the earth's magnetic frequency goes into your body, helping you ground your energy very much like you would as if you're a plug in a socket. And that grounding creates this safety. That is a very, very healing mechanism that the earth gives us, but we don't even recognize that we're doing. There's this amazing documentary called Earthing, and in it, Clint Ober discusses that, from the 1950s onwards, a lot of people were wearing rubber soles, which was keeping them out of connection with the earth all day long. And in doing so, we've lost touch with this wisdom, this inner knowledge that comes from the planet that's giving us information all the time. And whenever you look at birds and they fly together as a flock, there is a unison. That's because they're fully connected to one another. We are the same as human beings, but because we feel this separation, because we've lost that innate contact with the planet, with the earth itself, it doesn't mean that we're flying in unison together. So we think that we're separated, but in actual fact, we're all connected, but we're more connected when we're connected to the earth and we're connected by love and appreciation for one another and helping each other. If you're ever feeling disconnected and you want to raise your vibe, get grounding. It will really tune you in. It's the missing link that I discovered that really put everything into place for me in helping bridge spiritual understanding with grounded, practical, everyday solutions. Number 14, another way to raise your vibe is by having non-toxic stuff in the house. So plant-based cleaners, plant-based hand soaps, plant-based shower gels, etc. Everything plant-based, because toxicity lowers your vibe, and plant-based non-toxic stuff helps raise your vibe because your skin is absorbing all toxicity, and that toxicity goes into your bloodstream. If you have fillings that are metal, that's creating toxic environment inside your mouth, poisoning your blood little by little. So change them for like composites rather than the metals and silvers that your teeth have. That will keep your blood heavy and will reduce your vibration. So in order to raise your vibration, if you do have fillings, change them to the composites and get rid of those heavy metals. And being able to use non-toxic products in the house is a great way to raise your vibe, because not only does it help the environment, not only does it help the water where it goes down to the drain with having non-toxic stuff, it's also great for how your skin is absorbing your environment around you from all the cleaners and things you're putting on your skin on a day-to-day basis. That is paramount to be able to helping raise your vibe. Number 15, get sunlight on your skin. If you can get sunlight on your skin for as little as 10 to 15 minutes a day, if the sun is shining wherever you are, that is a wonderful way to be able to raise your vibe. It speaks for itself, and it obviously changes your mood, because when you're getting sun on your face, what that does is it creates the positive endorphins effect, and that positive endorphins helps you raise your vibe. And that also helps you rest, reset, and recharge your body as well. Number 16, practicing heart-centered gratitude. Gratitude opens up your heart. When you open up your heart, you change your vibe. It's as simple as that. If you want to raise your vibe, be one who appreciates, be one who is very grateful for the things that you have. If you are grateful, if there's a load of things that are not going great in your life, practice the little things that are going great in your life and watch them grow. Because when you're thankful for what you have, you will get more to be thankful for. And being grateful opens the heart and raises your vibe. So living from the heart, instead of in your mind, consciously in your mind, what that does is it helps you tune into life around you. It helps you feel more abundant and opens the floodgates to more good things happening. Because when your heart is open and you feel good and you're thankful for the blessings in your life, what happens is you will get more. Number 17. Complimenting others and yourself. When you compliment yourself and other people, you're raising your vibe, because what you give always comes back. So when you're complimenting others, so be a complimenter, be someone who appreciates other people for the little things often. And when you're complimenting the people in your home for what they've done right or what you appreciate about them, they just want to do that more. So if you find yourself trying to nag your spouse or nag your parent or being nagged by your parent, ask them to flip it and just go, look, appreciate what I'm doing well and I'll do more of that. Because actually, as human beings, we are all rebellious and we always want to do what we're not told to do. But when we're complimented and when we compliment other people, there's a much more likelihood that they're going to want to do that again. Because when we're appreciated and we're acknowledged for what we're doing right, we want to keep doing that because we know that that feels good. And so be a complimenter and don't be a complainer, and watch your vibe raise as a result. Number 18, practicing reverence. I haven't talked about this before, but reverence is this awe of life, looking at life with a sense of wonder. This sense of wonderness, this sense of reverence really helps you raise your vibe. When I first started practicing having a sense of wonder, looking at the trees, like being in awe of like watching rainbows and the sun come out, just as I started to think and feel better feeling thoughts. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm really connected to life. I really feel that there's something spectacular going on for each and every one of us. But this was it through my own eyes. When I began to practice reverence at everything, what I noticed is that life would give me more to be in wonder of. Practicing reverence, particularly with animals and the natural world, is absolutely marvelous. But you can do it also with coming home and saying hello to your home and hello to your computer and hello to your phone and hello to your stuff, because this sense of reverence actually builds this relationship. And seeing that life, that everything is energy, we're all made up of tiny weeny molecules, They're all responding to the attention and the observation that we're giving. And just because it's thick doesn't mean there isn't energy inside. So practicing a sense of wonder for all the material in your world, whether it be your car, whether it be your computer, whether it be your phone, whether it be your home, whatever it may be, say hello to it, acknowledge it, appreciate it, and it will work for you. This reverence helps you raise your vibe. It sounds a little bit esoteric, but it really, really works. I'm so in awe of when I know that my energy is going great and all my electronics are going great, and when I don't feel great, my electronics all muck up. That's because we're electrical and we're interrupting the patterns that happens electrically with other electrical things. So the better you feel, you'll notice that the more your electrical goods work better, and the worse you feel, you'll sometimes notice that your electrical goods don't work as well. And the reason being is because when you're calm and you're centered and you're feeling good, you'll notice that these things respond particularly well to you. And otherwise, if you're having challenges, you'll notice that maybe it's your emotional energy that's all over the shop. So in order to raise your vibe, practice having a sense of wonder, a sense of reverence about literally everything. And you'll notice that you'll have this wonderful communion and connection to life that's more than just meets the eye. Number 19, bless everything. Whenever you're going to drink something, whether you're going to eat something, bless it. A silent blessing or a word spoken over a food or something that you're going to drink will change its vibrational nature. Just because you can't see it happening when that you're blessing it doesn't mean it's not actually helping. Qigong masters such as Robert Peng, has done this Qigong exercise over food and blessing brandy from one state to another, and it's absolutely fascinating that one brandy, after it's been blessed by Qigong, which is sending positive energy to one brandy glass versus none to the other, that they taste completely different. I've been blessing my food for a very long time, and I noticed that it's helping my body be able to digest the food particularly well. If you look back at ancient texts, everybody was blessing food and blessing banquets before that they were eating the food. And the reason being is because this ancient art of blessing everything will change the vibrational dynamics and raise your vibe before you ingest it. And then that will be better energy for your food. And one of the ways you can bless your food is by simply getting your two hands together like this, rubbing them together, creating a positive chi between two circuits of your hands, and putting your hands directly over the water or over the beverage or over the food, whatever you're going to be doing it. And often when I do that and I can feel my hands flowing after either a qigong or just literally rubbing them together, or putting my hand over my heart and one over the food or the drink, this simple exercise, which can take about 4 or 5 seconds, that will change the dynamics and the vibrational nature of the food that I'm going to ingest or the drink that I'm going to drink. This is one way you can massively raise your vibe. Number 20, don't take life so seriously. Lighten up on yourself. Take things easy. Don't be so heavy on stuff. Life can be heavy enough. But when you begin to take things less seriously and lighten up, what happens is that emotional weight that you carry on your shoulders and that you carry in your body just begins to dissipate. So travel light, eat light, wear lighter clothes, and you'll notice that you'll hold more light inside of your body, and that light will raise your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you'll feel happier, you'll feel freer, and you'll feel that anything that's heavy won't hang on to you anymore. So don't take yourself so seriously. I used to take myself so seriously, and I just began to lighten up little by little. And I figured that one of the quickest ways to do that was just travel lighter. Don't put so much in my suitcase when I go on holiday. Wear lighter clothes, lighten up, have a happier, funner, freer demeanor. Of course, there's certain things you've got to have in place, certain responsibilities. I'm not talking about not doing your responsibilities. I'm talking about having a different perspective, having a light-hearted perspective, not taking things and life too seriously. Because when you do that, what happens is you're going to feel freer and your vibe is just going to raise. And last but not least, number 21, live simply. When you're living simply and keeping things simple and just doing the next thing that you can do one after the other, what happens is that takes resistance off your trail and helps you raise your vibe. Too much stuff creates overwhelmment. And in order to get out of that overwhelmment, you've got to simplify. And simplifying is genius. Genius is the ability to focus on one thing at a time for longer periods of time. And that is obviously one of the main challenges for human beings on the planet right now, is because the mental capacity that most people have is being able to focus for 8 seconds. And a goldfish has the ability to focus for 9 seconds. So what's that saying about the human race? It's saying that we put too much on our plate. We're being bombarded with too much information. So when you simplify your life and you keep things simple, what that does is it releases the resistance and allows you to focus. And when you focus, your vibe begins to rise. So the art of living and the art of raising your vibration is as simple as this. Try to keep your life as resistant free as possible. And one of the ways to do that is enjoy your life to the max. Enjoy your life as much as you possibly can without putting too much resistance on your trail, so that you can find this happy, healthy balance between doing what you love and doing what you need to do. So you can find this happy, healthy balance of living life on your own terms. Be easy with yourself. Life's supposed to be good and it's supposed to be fun. And it's either us allowing that or disallowing that. And we do that when we put too much resistance on your trail. I hope you got great value from today's show. And if you did, I would love to hear from you over on Instagram. So feel free to DM me and share with me what your favorite tip was from today. And if you're listening to this episode on your phone, why not take a screenshot and tag me in it in your stories? And I'd love to hear what your favorite tip was from today. And if you'd like to continue this conversation, I'm on Clubhouse at 9 a.m. every single Tuesday, giving you practical tips and solutions to help raise your vibe. And of course, teaching you and sharing with you some mind, body and soul principles for health, happiness and well-being. So come over and join the conversation and hang out with me and some friends. And if you want to learn how to meditate, please remember you can sign up to my video course, 7 ways to meditate in 7 days, and you can get your vibe raising through that. So with that being said, I wish you an amazing day and green lights all the way, and I'll catch you on the next episode.